meditation. Focus on the breath, the mind wanders, bring it back. One repetition. When I first discovered SR, I was actually in a relationship, and you can imagine the difficulty when finding all this information about the value of continence, the benefit it gains, and ultimately leading a life that is more congruent and consistent with spiritual development, and also perhaps the challenges around meeting your partner's, let's say, sexual fulfillment and expectations. One of the more interesting discoveries I made on this journey is that it is interesting to ask a man a question, what kind of relationship you have with your woman if you take sex off the table. And most men find very, very quickly that the only reason they're with their significant other is because of the physical intimacy that intertwines the relationship. So it can be a very sobering experience and ends up breaking you up very, very quickly. Fortunately, in my kind of context, it was very rewarding, and I found that there were lots of values and morals and characteristics that were consistent with what I would consider somebody to be a long-term partner and a wife. But to the former point, there is a very sobering acceptance, a very sobering challenge that many men have to let their present girlfriends go because they got together when they were an old version of themselves, when they were a version of themselves that perhaps is not commensurate with where they want to go. So I wanted to share this particular story from a gentleman who is having the same experience, outgrowing his girlfriend. So after practicing SR for many years, going 150 days twice, I had fallen out of it. I ended up attracting a very beautiful girlfriend while PMOing. And I suppose this pertains to the like attract like phenomenon, whereby if you find yourself in a particularly dark and challenging period in your life, you will similarly attract women who are dark and in challenging periods of their life. And when you try to move out from those moments in that place, you can find them almost clinging onto you, dragging you back towards the degenerate lifestyle that you've created. In those months, I quit every vice I had. I quit alcohol, I quit caffeine, I quit nicotine, I quit weed, video games, adult material, and also sugar. I started to lift again, improve in my career. I became more balanced and confident. It turns out my girlfriend was very insecure and hated herself. And as I have said, this individual was not going to sit by idly while somebody else is presently improving themselves. I mean, you would hope in that context that she would find the motivation to similarly start to climb the ladder corporately, spiritually, financially, and in terms of her fitness. But sometimes it can breed resentment and, in fact, damage the relationship even further. My success caused her to realize that she didn't deserve me, sabotaging herself and eventually cheating on me, like I said. The breakup this Saturday 2 days ago was horrible. I learned some awful things. I also had a dog viciously bite my foot at a Halloween party on Friday. Goodness. And yet I have not gone back to a single vice to dull my emotional or physical pain. Those are the moments that make or break a man, because I've been on record many, many times, tweeted many, many times, been on video many, many times, saying that the devil has no motivation to pursue an individual that is already in hell, but he has every motivation to pursue an individual who is trying to escape it. Meaning the moment you start improving your life, the moment you go on SR, the moment you start lifting again, the moment you start to clean up your diet, the moment you start to, let's say, negotiate your salary at work and do better in that regard, challenges start to come your way. The devil starts to realize you're climbing out of the pit of hell, and he will not accept this. He will send his agents for you to knock you off your center. He himself will appear in temptation. He will try to bring you back to your degenerate lifestyle where he can kind of feed off your energy and use that to power all the malicious and nefarious things that go on in the world today. And if you can forego that in those moments of temptation, that is a really character building stuff. I wanted to share the story to share a lesson I learned. Some women will try to feed off you and wrong you because they are weak. If you're wasting your sexual energy, you will attract these broken women. You will accept them because of the loneliness and weakness. Like attracts like. If you improve yourself and save your masculine energy, they will naturally be disaligned or misaligned with you, and it is near impossible to be with the wrong woman. I wouldn't say that is necessarily true. I believe your discernment gets better, meaning you can quickly see through the temptations and the tricks and tribulations of the devil trying to knock you off your center. You can see through these facades, and you can find if an individual's intention comes from a pure place or if it comes from a nefarious place. Love yourself and your masculine power. Seek self-contentment. The universe will align itself with your strength and you will find the truths and loves that you seek. The most important love is the love you give to yourself, to give yourself the strength to do the right thing and to be the man you are able to become. Very, very powerful message. I'm interested to see what the comments are here. More individuals being motivated to restart this journey and commit themselves, especially in the moments of duress, especially in the moments of temptation. Swami Vivekananda said something to the effect that when you renounce nature, she starts to take an interest in you. When you completely have no need for her at all, she becomes your slave. She becomes under your thumb. And then you are dictating the terms of what you would like to see come into fruition in your particular reality. And that, in my personal experience, has been true. That has been the case for me. As soon as I communicated to my partner at the time that I was going to go through this journey of SR and I was going to, do things like Kareza and White Tantra, she became more interested in developing our relationship together, becoming more spiritual. Opportunities started to come my way. My salary started to increase. My business started to take off. Nature responds when you don't react to the universe. When you respond, when you have control, and there's a difference between those two. Reactive and responsive personality traits are completely different. Reactive is very feminine, is emotional. There's no control there. But responsive, that is logical. That is masculine. That is very, very stoic. You're keeping all the power in this regard. The state from which you're drawing upon, that presence comes within you. You're not reacting to the 3D, the matrix, the Maya outside of you, the illusion. You're keeping all the power within you. You have self-government. You have jurisdiction over this human body. And nothing can knock you off your center. You have that control. And it's a muscle. You need to exercise it. There was a really interesting post I believe Hamza did the other day in terms of what meditation actually is and how you can start to quantify it in terms of an outcome that you would like to see in terms of keeping that state of presence and control in your life. And it goes something like this. You sit down, you close your eyes, you focus on the breath. The mind will start to wander. You notice the mind wandering. You pull your mind back to the breath. That is one repetition. That is one repetition, and it starts over again. You focus on the breath, you start wondering about what you're going to have for dinner, you bring it back to the breath. 2 repetitions. You focus on the breath, the mind wanders again, what you're going to do tomorrow, what's in your agenda, you notice that, you bring it back, that's 3rd repetition. The more you do this, the more you build discipline, the more you have control. It is you flitting between the limbic system and between the prefrontal cortex. So the limbic system is feminine, it is reactive. It is emotional. The prefrontal cortex is masculine. It has top-down control of the human organism. It controls higher executive function. If you can create more thickness in the gray matter in this area, you will have more willpower. You will have more control. And how do you do this? You do this through the exercise that I just told you. Meditation. Focus on the breath. The mind wanders. Bring it back. 1 repetition. Do sets of 10. Then do sets of 20. Then do sets of 30, and then keep going until you have made your gray matter in the prefrontal cortex so thick, so strong, the connections in the neurons so plentiful that nothing can knock you off your center. Temptation can't knock you off your center. I'm not talking in the ineffable here. I'm not talking in the non-tangible. I'm talking in something that is palpable, that you can actually measure. There are changes in the brain that happen when you do these exercises. I suppose the challenge is you're not going to see veins in your brain. You're going to see the bicep vein, if you're lifting weights, and you can see the process in that respect, but you can see the progress in how many times you are relapsing back into old habits. If you're able to forego temptation next time it arises in you. Maybe quantify it in terms of the money you're making now. Maybe in terms of the positive emotion you're feeling every day because you're being consistent and congruent to the vision that you hold of yourself inside your head. These are not theories, these are facts. Speak soon.